Jefferson County Public Schools resumed its negotiations on a new contract with its teachers union this week. The negotiations, now open to the public, have become more tense over various issues, including a strike FAQ sheet that was sent to union members last month by the union. Meanwhile, Marcia Neal, chairman at the State Board of Education, announced her resignation this week. Eric, a lot of issues in education. Take your pick, whether it's the State Board or Jeffco, lots of popping.
Let me try to go quickly. At the Jeffco level, it is tense, as you said in your question, Dominic. It is hot. It is only going to get more tense and hotter as the summer goes along. I believe there's an August 31st deadline on the master agreement out there. There are all kinds of issues of how they hire new starting teachers in the interim to start school here in 6 or 8 or 10 weeks from now. But the bigger issue is whether there's going to be a master agreement or whether this follows along with Douglas County a number of years ago, where they basically did away with the teachers union, decertified the union, and operate without a union. And somehow kids are still getting educated in Douglas County. We'll see how big that school board wants to go on this agenda, but this is battle royale, and we're still just in the preliminary rounds here. The real rounds are to be fought in July and August, and maybe come September, October, if there is some kind of strike action or what have you. At the state level, quickly, in Marcia Neal, who's this wonderful older woman, Republican from Grand Junction, been on that board a while. She finally walked away and just said this is completely dysfunctional, and she has the right word. That board needs to take a good, hard look in the mirror at how it operates, and one board member in particular.
Mike, looking at both these issues, is there one that you think has a greater impact on the next couple of months, whether it's in Jeffco or the State Board?
Well, I think that they both are certainly going to be big issues statewide. I mean, the State Board of Education affects policy for the entire state. Jeffco has been a leader in education policy. I think if nothing else, both Marcia Neal and what's going on at the Jeffco board, both with the negotiations as well as some of the other issues that have been batted about this table, these should wake people up to the importance of some of these local elections for local boards, as well as the consequences when we either don't have a primary or have a very low turnout primary on the Republican or the Democratic side for these candidates. I mean, these are typically very low turnout affairs, and you're starting to see the effects of that in Jeffco as well as the state board. It just causes dysfunction and lets honestly crazy people get on these boards and commissions that throw them out of whack and make them lead to people like Marcia Neal, who I knew in Grand Junction. I covered her when I was a reporter at the Grand Junction Daily Sentinel. She's an honorable public servant, and it's a real loss for the state, especially that this dysfunction has pushed her to step down early.
Patty, what does it say when a chairwoman of the State Board of Education announces, I'm walking away because this is dysfunctional? She's not saying spend more time with her family or anything else. She's calling her shot as she leaves. What does the State Board need to do to respond?
Maybe become functional. So we've heard a lot about problems at the State Board this year. Fights about testing, fights about the student health questionnaire, that they have dug in their heels on some of the more random things that are not the issue. They're not really acting in a leaderly way. They're not setting a good example for the students of Colorado. Let's put it that way. There's so many big issues to discuss, and they are not leading the way. They are instead just obfuscating. So it is a sad loss. It looked like she wasn't going to, she's done a good life of public service. She doesn't need to stay that much longer, but that she is leaving behind an organization that she felt she needed to criticize as she left is really significant.
Mike, I know you know that Complete Colorado broke the whole story in Jeffco that the union sent out that strike FAQ. And obviously, since the election in 2013 of the Jeffco County School Board, when you have those 3 more conservative members has the majority, both sides have not been bashful about taking on each other. Was this a warning shot from the union saying, hey, we'll go there if we have to, or just part of negotiation strategy?
Well, I think it was a combination of both. I mean, it's a classic public sector union negotiation strategy to say we're going to negotiate in good faith while at the same time prepping their members for the idea of to start talking about this, and then you start some chatter. So obviously it's working because now it's a story that the JCEA are prepping its members for the idea of striking. So it's a little bit of both. It's leverage, it's negotiations, it's pretty classic union tactic. Some amusing stuff in the FAQ though, when they asked, well, what about the kids? What about our kids? And they said, well, we got to start thinking about what to do with these kids, and public libraries are a potential option. You can imagine a parent dropping their kid off at the local public library and then driving away in the rearview mirror, and the kids back there like, well, now what do I do, right? And so the FAQ is, I think it's a strong arm tactic. And if they want to go on strike, well, it's been a long time since we've had that in Colorado, and that's a big step, and so that's a big threat to make. And so let's see if they've got they're willing to back it up if it comes to it.